This secret wasn't supposed to be found. For decades, we believed space was silent, an infinite stretch of darkness where nothing listens, nothing speaks.
The spacecraft is now the first human-made object to have left the vicinity of our Sun and entered a completely new region of space.
But now, Voyager 1 has sent something back, a ripple, a pulse.
And finally, NASA on Tuesday said that it has found a heartbeat signal from the Voyager.
A pattern that should not exist. It's not from Earth, it's not from the Sun, and it's not random. It repeats, it reacts, and some believe it responds.
The Voyager program's aim was to explore the solar system and the mysteries of space, and it's still doing it.
At 23 billion kilometers from home, a human machine may have crossed a threshold into something not just unknown, but aware. If Voyager found a boundary, the real question is, who drew it? Let's find out. The messenger that never stopped. When Voyager 1 launched in 1977,
the Voyager program's aim was to explore the solar system and the mysteries of space, and it's still doing it. Voyager 1 lifted off on September the 5th, 1977.
It was never meant to come back. It was humanity's long-shot letter to the cosmos, sent without a return address, designed to last only a few years. It wasn't supposed to still be talking to us nearly 5 decades later, and yet it is. Not just with routine updates, but with something stranger, something new. Voyager was built as a scout, a witness to the outer planets. It gave us stunning images of Jupiter's storms and Saturn's rings. Then, after its primary mission ended, it just kept going. Past Uranus, past Neptune, past everything we knew.
It's just incredible to be a part of this mission that continues to this day, and that has inspired so many generations of people to go into space exploration or science.
In 2012, Voyager 1 crossed a line called the heliopause, the invisible boundary where the Sun's magnetic influence ends and interstellar space begins. Scientists expected a slow fade into silence, into the calm emptiness between stars, but silence never came. Instead, Voyager began to hear things: low-frequency vibrations, magnetic fluctuations, strange, repeating pulses deep in the data stream. At first, they were dismissed as noise, glitches, artifacts of an aging machine, but they didn't stop. They became more intense, more organized. Voyager's instruments, old, worn, outdated, aren't meant to decode these patterns, and yet they've captured something unmistakably structured, a rhythm, a pattern that reappears, something that doesn't behave like cosmic radiation or static. It behaves like information. This wasn't part of the plan. No model predicted it. And now, scientists are rethinking what the edge of the solar system is. Maybe it's not a passive boundary, but something more like a perimeter, a threshold, or even a checkpoint. Voyager didn't just fly into space, it flew into a question, and the data it's sending back suggests something or someone might be answering. The edge that isn't empty. We used to think the edge of the solar system was like the edge of a fading song, where the music dies and the silence begins. But Voyager 1 has shattered that illusion, because what it's finding out there isn't quiet. It's pulsing, shifting, alive. At the heliopause, the solar wind collides with interstellar particles. Scientists once thought this interaction would be simple, predictable, a kind of magnetic buffer. But Voyager's instruments are picking up something else entirely. Instead of a clean boundary, it's a region of turbulence. Magnetic ripples dance across the spacecraft's sensors. Energetic particles move in waves, and then the signals started repeating. That's when people started asking uncomfortable questions. The fluctuations follow patterns. They rise and fall in steady intervals. They spike when Earth lines up with the galactic center. They vanish when it drifts away. That's not background noise, that's a response. And responses imply presence. Some now believe that what Voyager is detecting isn't natural at all. Not entirely. The magnetic patterns, the distortion of telemetry data, even small but consistent time shifts, these could be signs of interaction, not just with space, but with something inside it or behind it. There's a growing theory that the heliopause might not be a natural threshold at all. It might be an engineered barrier, something placed there or shaped long ago, not to protect us, but to monitor us, like a gate or a sensor. And Voyager 1, drifting closer to this strange turbulence, may have triggered something dormant. Because the data doesn't just pulse, it echoes, it mirrors, like sonar bouncing off a structure we can't see. And the deeper Voyager moves into this zone, the more precise the signals become. They're not fading, they're converging. Something out there knows we're here. Patterns in the void. In deep space, randomness is expected. Radiation flares, magnetic fields shift, signals fade into static. But Voyager 1's recent transmissions tell a different story, one that hints at design, not chaos. Because what it's detecting isn't just strange, it's patterned, repeating, and disturbingly consistent. At first, it was easy to dismiss. A spike in radiation here, a flicker in magnetic data there. Engineers blamed interference, cosmic rays, and aging hardware. But then, they noticed something odd. The disturbances weren't random. They came back, same intervals, same frequencies, and they formed something unexpected, a structure. Buried in the background noise were low-frequency pulses, spaced out with eerie precision. When mapped over time, a rhythm emerged. Not constant, but coordinated, like a beat. And curiously, this beat seemed to align with Earth's changing position in the galaxy. Its angle, its proximity to the center, even its orbital drift. It was as if Voyager 1 had tuned into something responsive. The pulses would vanish, then reappear when Earth returned to a particular alignment. Scientists started wondering, is this a coincidence? Or is Voyager being watched, its position noted, its movement tracked? Some physicists now argue that Voyager 1 may have entered a field of interstellar resonance, a kind of galactic frequency, always there, but only detectable under specific conditions. And Voyager, drifting for decades, might have just hit the sweet spot. If that's true, then what it's hearing isn't noise. It's a transmission, a broadcast, not from Earth or the Sun, but from beyond.
And finally, NASA on Tuesday said that it has found a heartbeat signal.
And that raises another question. Was this frequency always there, waiting to be found? Or was it triggered by us? Either way, the implication is the same. Voyager isn't alone in the dark. It's part of a larger system now, one that's finally answering back. The architect hypothesis. What if space isn't random? What if the galaxy isn't a chaotic sprawl of stars, but something shaped, designed, with intention? That's the unsettling idea behind what some scientists now call the architect hypothesis. A theory that suggests parts of the universe may be structured by an ancient intelligence, and Voyager 1 may have just brushed against it. For years, this idea lived on the fringes of science, a blend of astrophysics and speculation. But Voyager's latest readings have pulled it into the spotlight. The repeating pulses, magnetic distortions, and gravitational anomalies match predictions made by theorists studying what energy patterns might look like inside a controlled interstellar system. Think of it as infrastructure, vast, invisible highways of energy threading through the galaxy. Not made of metal or stone, but of fields, frequencies, and gravitational currents. If such a structure exists, then Voyager may be skimming its surface, or worse, entering one of its nodes. Some researchers believe these nodes act as regulators, not physical machines, but environmental systems. They could manage the flow of interstellar matter, redirect cosmic rays, and even carry signals across star systems. And if so, then Voyager's sudden alignment with these disturbances isn't just a scientific event. It's a crossing into something far older than Earth. Here's the chilling part. According to this theory, such regions wouldn't just exist, they'd be aware. Not conscious in the way we understand, but active, reactive, built to respond to contact. And contact has now been made. If Voyager has indeed entered one of these engineered zones, the signals it's detecting may not be passive. They could be tests, queries, or even warnings. We may have unknowingly stepped into a system built not for us, but built to detect us. And it's listening very closely. The Golden Record and the Beacon Theory. Voyager 1 didn't leave Earth empty-handed. It carried a gift, a 12-inch gold-plated copper disc known as the Golden Record, a message from humanity etched in metal, music, greetings in 55 languages, sounds of nature, maps of our location in the cosmos, a gesture of peace.
A disc encoded with images of life on Earth, greetings in 55 languages, a selection of music, messages, and natural sound.
But what if it was more than that? What if it wasn't just a message, but a beacon? The beacon theory is gaining traction among a small group of physicists and astrobiologists. They argue that the Golden Record, with its unique electromagnetic properties and spinning motion, could act as a tag, a signature, not just announcing who we are, but where we are, like an identifier placed on a signal, allowing more advanced systems to detect and possibly interact with it. The idea sounds far-fetched until you look at the latest Voyager data. The structured pulses began to intensify right after Voyager entered deep interstellar space. Some theorists suggest that the record's unique energy signature might have activated a reaction in the environment around it. Not accidentally, but as a part of a design. One we never knew existed. And here's the twist. What if the record was meant to be found? Not by aliens wandering through space, but by an ancient system already in place. One that recognizes signs of intention. That watches for the moment when a species not only explores, but announces itself. Voyager 1 may have done just that. Some anomalies now show signs of external modulation, as if Voyager's signals are being influenced, adjusted, even repurposed, not by us and not by nature, which raises the haunting possibility. Voyager 1 may no longer be just a spacecraft. It may now be part of a network, transmitting something not to Earth, but away from it.
Now first, like always, be sure to hit the like button down below. It helps us out tremendously with the reach of this video. Thank you.
A whisper from the dark. For nearly half a century, Voyager 1 has been silent in its purpose, drifting, recording, transmitting. But lately, it's begun whispering something new. Not in words, but in pulses, in vibrations, in anomalies so precise they no longer feel like accidents. Engineers noticed it first. Signals once thought to be static, just background clutter from a tired machine, suddenly showed order. Patterns embedded in the noise floor, low-frequency pulses flaring up in exact intervals, then vanishing like clockwork. When those intervals were charted, a strange connection appeared. They lined up with Earth's position relative to the galactic center. That's not just interesting, that's tracking. It suggests something is reacting to us, or maybe to Voyager's signal, now altered by time, distance, and the Golden Record. And the longer the craft stays out there, the more these patterns sharpen. It's like tuning a radio. And now we're starting to hear the signal. But what kind of signal is this? Some believe Voyager has slipped into a current of interstellar information, a kind of cosmic network, a web that stretches across star systems, not visible, but detectable, not random, but deliberate. And Voyager, by sheer persistence and timing, may have tuned itself into that frequency. If true, this isn't just a discovery. It's a shift in perspective. Space isn't silent. It isn't waiting. It's already transmitting, always has been. And for the first time, we're picking it up. Voyager may be a listener, or it may now be a relay, transmitting on behalf of something else. Either way, it's no longer just ours. It has become part of something far bigger, something watching, waiting, and now, possibly, responding. The question we never meant to ask. Voyager 1 was never supposed to make it this far. Its mission ended decades ago. Yet here it is, far beyond the planets, beyond the sun's reach, and somehow more important than ever. Not because of what it sees, but because of what it started. The signals it sends back aren't just scientific data anymore. They feel like echoes, like a quiet call answered by something we can't see. And this forces us to ask a question we've avoided for a long time. Were we ever alone? Or were we just not listening closely enough? Maybe this isn't discovery by accident. Maybe it's initiation by presence, a test, not of technology, but of awareness. Voyager was built with human hands, powered by our curiosity, and armed with a message we hoped someone would one day find. But we never thought that finding might go both ways. The idea is no longer confined to science fiction. Some astrophysicists now consider the possibility that parts of space may be reactive, built to recognize intention, detect signatures, and respond to patterns. That Voyager didn't stumble into this by chance, but because it carried the signs of a civilization ready to speak. And something may have heard us. That's the unease now settling over the scientific community. Not fear, exactly, but awe. Because if Voyager 1 has truly crossed into a region built to listen, then we haven't just sent out a message. We've asked a question, and the universe may be whispering its reply. A signal no longer ours. Voyager 1 still carries the badge of Earth. The golden record, the engineering of a bygone era. The silence of deep space hums through its aging systems. But now, its signal feels different. And that difference is raising the most chilling possibility of all. It may no longer be speaking for us. Recent analysis of its telemetry reveals something beyond expected decay or interference. Certain frequencies are being subtly altered, shifted in ways that defy their onboard capabilities. The craft isn't broken, it's being touched, modulated. As if something is now using Voyager's systems to speak, but not to us. What if Voyager is now a relay? A node in a larger design we never knew existed? Not transmitting home, but outward, into the dark, into a structure that listens, records, and possibly relays again. Like an ancient machine waking up after eons of silence, suddenly aware of a new participant. Engineers are beginning to notice patterns that don't originate from Earth or from Voyager itself. Outside modulation, echoes that return altered, signals that feel aimed, directional, deliberate. The message isn't human anymore. This raises a final, haunting thought. Maybe we didn't send Voyager out to explore. Maybe we sent it out to be seen. And now that it has been seen, now that it has crossed some invisible line, we have to accept the possibility that our little machine, 23 billion kilometers from home, is no longer ours. It belongs to something else now, and it's already begun to answer. The system that sees. For centuries, we've assumed the universe was indifferent, vast, silent, unaware of our presence. But Voyager 1's final transmissions suggest otherwise. They hint at something watching, not with eyes, but with systems, networks. A structure built not to explore, but to observe. The concept is terrifying in its simplicity. Not an alien civilization with ships and languages, but a framework that spans stars. A listening post embedded in the fabric of space itself. Something so old and so vast, it doesn't need to move. It just waits. And now, Voyager may have tripped its wire. Some believe the spacecraft is no longer traveling through space, but through a boundary designed to filter, detect, and respond. A kind of cosmic checkpoint, not mechanical in the way we understand, but no less real. Gravity behaves differently here. Magnetic fields bend in strange patterns. Time, as measured by Voyager's clocks, distorts slightly. These are not malfunctions, they're effects, traces of something intentional. We thought Voyager was drifting alone, but its data tells a different story, one of interaction, of echoes that aren't reflections but replies, of pulses that don't fade but return stronger. That's not space, that's presence. If such a system exists, it doesn't need to send messages. It is the message, and by entering it, Voyager became part of it. A signal, a probe, maybe even a trigger. We may never fully understand what's watching us, but the truth is now impossible to ignore. Something out there already sees us. The beginning of the reply. For decades, we believed Voyager 1 was a one-way journey, a final whisper into the cosmos. But now, standing at the edge of interstellar space, it seems the silence is breaking. Not in words, not in language, but in patterns, in pulses, changes too precise to be dismissed. The reply has begun, and it's not what we expected. These aren't bursts of data from some distant star. They're local, focused, as if something near, yet completely unseen, is answering back in the only way it can. Not with a voice, but with structure, a magnetic signature that evolves, a rhythm that adapts. The signals grow stronger when Earth aligns with key points in the galaxy. They fade, then return with increasing clarity. It's as if they're learning, or worse, testing. And Voyager, our oldest surviving explorer, is caught in the middle. The spacecraft's original mission was to carry our story, to show the universe who we are. But that story may have reached something capable of replying, something ancient enough to have watched civilizations rise and fall, patient enough to wait for a signal from a species just beginning to lift its eyes. Now, we face a future we didn't plan for, one where contact doesn't come as a transmission, but as an awakening. Not from another world, but from the fabric of space itself. Voyager was never just a machine. It was a question waiting to be answered. And now, the answer is coming. We built Voyager 1 to explore, to witness, and to remember. But in the quiet cold beyond our sun's reach, it may have done something more. It may have made first contact without us realizing. Not with a civilization, but with a presence woven into the structure of space itself. What began as a message in a bottle might now be part of a conversation we never knew was happening. And whether the reply is a welcome, a warning, or something else entirely, we've already heard the first whisper. The question now is, will we choose to listen? Stay curious.